Hello, everyone. Today I'm just rambling to work up some appetite to go get myself some lunch. Just going to clear a whole bunch of ideas and thoughts off my plate. They probably won't be related, but I'm going to start with a comment from Tisnogods. It was 2 days ago on one of my videos. He said, AOD. Not sure if stress of your pursuit of additional education is starting to wear on you, or if it's something else. Just noticed that in a lot of your recent videos, you have a multitude of heavy sighs physically, and you're more serious. You don't joke around and smile as much as you used to. Hopefully you can find something to recharge your batteries. Take care, AOD. Thank you, Tisnogods, for noticing. Where to begin? If this is going to be a video of just me talking about all the personal problems I've had, it's going to be a look into my life that most of you were completely oblivious about, because it doesn't fit within this frame of my little office at home and all the books behind me and whatnot. So to begin, why do I look different? I cut out half the calories that I used to ingest daily, and most of that came from Mountain Dew. And it's day 93 for me right now, and I've lost 10 pounds. And I haven't changed much of anything else in my life except for adding fruit juice and watered down fruit juice at that, and just going about my life the way I used to. Same level of exercise and everything, and I'm just drained. I haven't replaced those calories with anything else. I eat 2 meals a day because the medications that I take in the morning don't mix well with food. So while I might have some juice that I drink with my medication in the morning, I don't have any protein at all in the morning with my food, because when it mixes with my medication, it's a bad trip to the bathroom. So being that I only get half the calories in the day, that's probably a big part of it. Also, I've had some bad things happen at home. Dogs got into a fight, which resulted in a big vet bill that this household is going to have to pay, and my girlfriend's hand was torn up. I will try to remember to tweet out some pictures of both of those things, and then link in the description box after I'm done filming this video, so that way you guys can see what I'm talking about and how horrific that was to see Misty's hand sliced open, and the dog just is missing part of its ear now because of a dog fight. Not a sporting dog fight, it just happened, and we were watching her niece's dog, and because she couldn't afford vet bills, and we had to go take it to the vet, and then we had to take it to the vet again, and those bills have just now piled up. We have to return that dog to her because we have them split up with one dog in a kennel all the time, and it's no life for a dog. And it's taken up some of my my thoughts. You only have so many thoughts in a day, and that's gotten a lot of them. Right now, that injured dog has a drain on his back, draining out infection from puncture wounds from the other dog biting him. So if you don't like horrific pictures of hurt dogs, don't click on the link to that Twitter picture. What else? I recently made a really good observation, and it's not just my opinion about that, that the people that were in one set of a click on YouTube were using a certain, we'll say, tactic as far as promoting each other or trying to prime the pump for each other on giving on Patreon. And then the people who are in a different clique opposing that clique, who also have close friendships, do not use that tactic. I made that observation, and some of the reaction that I've gotten from that has really just burst my bubble as far as the pedestal that I had put a few people on, and it continues to do so because I'm not calling it significant that some people were doing something that I consider bad and that others might not consider bad. I'm calling it significant that this clique does it and this clique does not, you know? And there's something to that. What is it about the psychology of these two cliques that makes there be a delineation of this group does it, this group doesn't? But of course, none of the detractors of that observation want to address that point. They want to say that it was all bad. It's not well thought out. Nothing to see here, and that's fine. They can say those things, but calling me a conspiracy theory nut, and then using some really bad arguments that just showed me that when they don't like someone or they don't like their politics, they throw their critical thinking skills out the window. I was compared to a few things like Deepities, like Deepak Chopra, you know, the Deepities that say something that seems true but it really isn't. And when I looked at what Deepities actually were, I didn't know what they were before I was told that by some of these detractors. When I looked up what a Deepity is, I was like, that has nothing to do with what I said at all, you know. And whether or not they think that my not liking what they do in giving back and forth to each other in charities and on Patreon is a good thing, you know. Whether or not they think that is trivial doesn't make it a Deepity, okay? Because my conclusion at the end of that video, the big message was, this group does it, this group doesn't. Okay? And those two groups are politically opposite. That was the big thing. Whether or not it was bad that they did it, you know, some people have varying different degrees to which they think it was bad, but those who defend themselves the much, it's like, methinks thou protesteth too much. Because, you know, they can't take any little mark to their credibility because they trade in credibility. You know, a lot of YouTube is, if you're wrong, you're losing subscribers and you're losing Patreon money and whatnot, and they've made it their job. They're invested in being right. And so it's horrible to see the way that some people will defend themselves by smearing others when they could just take a look at what's being said and leave their disagreements at that. No, they need to go that extra level and try to smear people. And it's like, pff, wow, I thought you were better than that. But whatever. So there's that. But also, bigger than that issue that's just me personally, this echoes a feeling from The Amazing Atheist in one of his videos. But the political landscape has changed. And what used to be a line between atheists and theists where, you could reliably guess which side of an argument somebody would be on. We now have a different line. The battle lines have been redrawn now, and now it's the social justice warriors versus the anti-social justice warriors. And there were, before this battle line being redrawn in, say, the past year and a half, there were a couple of times where I did find myself on one side or another of this new battle line, like in tactivism. I actually do believe that there's no reason to circumcise babies except for religious reasons and tradition, and it was done to me, so I'm going to do it to my kid, all those things, and I do believe that circumcision should be stopped. We should talk about this. So intactivism was traditionally a MRA talking point back in the day. Feminists didn't talk about it that much because they felt like calling it male genital mutilation trivialized what they considered to be worse, which was female genital mutilation, because genital mutilation is not an equal thing. It hurts women more because it's more, more stuff done. But I would say on an equal playing field, nobody should have any of their body parts removed while they're too young to make decisions for themselves. That's my position. And so, siding with people like Watcher Azazel, who used to be, on the other side of that line, he was a theist, and I was an atheist, and we got along on that point, and we got along in general in other things too. I was able to reach across the aisle and talk to a lot of different then theists. Some of the better ones were Roman Missile Exegy, who used to go by Thunderbolt 94 for a while, Losoyo, who is now on the opposite side of the fence, Rational Roundtable even. Some of those guys I enjoyed talking to. But with this redrawing of the battle lines, I've had a hard time of it, because unlike people like maybe The Amazing Atheist or a lot of other YouTubers, I didn't choose my friends at the time, years ago, based on what I thought the political landscape would be talking on YouTube in a couple years. I wasn't prepared for this. And so, recently, I saw a video from Vogter. Now, Vogter was a friend of mine years and years ago on YouTube, such that when I made my Facebook account for my YouTube channel, I actually listed him as a family member. He was my grandfather, right? So he came back to YouTube after a long stretch of avoiding it, and he made a video saying, "I'm a feminist," right? Which is very similar to something that I did about a year ago, because I didn't want radical feminists to have that label, and I feel like I would vote for anything that would be for the equality of women, and I don't think that the radical ones should be able to take away that label from people who aren't as radical as them. But what I found out since then was that if you're not 200% on board with every rad fem idea, radical feminists will turn on you. And you can be like 99% lockstep with them, but they will concentrate on that 1%, and they will chastise you, and they'll just look at what's happening to Kevin Logan right now for his fallout with Jenny McDermott, and you'll get an idea of what I went through when the same shit happened to me. When you start following just reason and your own skeptical mind, and you start looking at facts and you don't follow the radical rhetoric because you're like, wait a second, I might have a problem here, you will get ejected from those radical circles because you weren't willing to go radical. And so when I saw this video by Wagner that said, I am a feminist, I enjoyed that he was back, but I was like, ooh, he's probably about to take the same ride that a lot of us have taken on this because he's generally a skeptical person. So he's going to be introduced to a lot of rad femmes who he doesn't agree with, because that's where the political landscape is now. Okay? The social justice warriors and anti-social justice warriors. It's not about atheist theist anymore, and that's hard to accept. But at this point right now, I feel like Wagner probably, even though he's a skeptical guy, he's probably on that SJW side of the fence, just slightly, and I'm probably slightly on the other side. What puts me on the other side a lot is my adherence to the principle of freedom of speech. And when I find people willing to give up their freedom of speech rights for more safer spaces, it just looks like censorship to me. So on that issue, I start to look more anti-social justice warrior. And I think Wagner has been away for long enough that he hasn't really seen or felt this changing of the battle lines, And so Wagner's second video came out, and I up-thumbed it. I was happy for the message in it, and when I did, another of my friends, Sea Beach, saw a tweet that was generated by me up-thumbing that video because my Twitter is connected to my YouTube, and he had to chase my thumbing up and liking of that video with, Wagner's the biggest fucking virtue signaler in the world, and just he's a bad person, blah 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 blah, and I felt corralled. Right? Here's one of my friends telling me that one of my other friends is whatever, and I need to realize that, and I feel like that corralling, it was just one instance of this thing where it doesn't matter whether you're an atheist or theist anymore in this great debate community that we have. It's SJW, anti-SJW now. And that is really shaking up my circle of friends because I didn't pick them along lines of what their other politics were. So for me, a friend goes beyond just whether you have a disagreement or not. I have before made the analogy of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant probably had a beer together after every match. Like, ha ha ha, look at these suckers. They're still all riled up by our feud. And yeah, I think that friends, when they disagree, can see a point where even if they still disagree, they could go break bread with each other and enjoy each other's company talking about something else. So I'm not the kind of person that takes it personally when somebody disagrees with me and still has that end point in mind. And where do we veer off from that? When people actually try to hurt you in your real life, like, say, letter writing campaigns to people's bosses, I would say there's no going back from that. when people try to sniff out other parts of your life and hurt you actually in your life, there's no going back from that. They're not looking for any sort of resolution with ideas, with just talking anymore. They're looking to fucking hurt you. Well, there's no friendship there anymore, right? And I would say, since starting this YouTube channel, I'm at like 8,500 plus subscribers right now. Back when I had just like 500, right? I went on a trip around the United States, and I can say pretty securely that just about every state in the United States, I could have a blowout on my tires and be stranded, and I could call up somebody in that state that would drive the rest of the distance to see me and help me fix my flat tire. All right? And to me, that makes me rich. At least rich in friendship. Because I have something better than AAA, with all the friendships I've made. And I would do that for others. And I would say a lot of those others that I would do that for, I don't politically agree with. They're just friends. Okay? And when you let someone into your life as a friend, you don't think, oh, wait, did he make a video last week where I didn't agree with him on the issue of Bernie versus Hillary? I think I'll just let him wait for AAA to come get his car. No, that's not a friend. So yeah, seeing this political landscape change has really made it hard for me to want to make videos. In that, I'm not somebody who makes videos with my political well-being at heart. I follow interesting facts and I talk about them, and where I make opinions on those interesting facts, it's not based on who my friends are. In fact, if it's a friend of mine that says something that I feel is wrong and I make a video about it, I can be vicious as far as my following of where do these facts actually go. You see that you're wrong here. And I expect my friends to do the same and try to persuade me, but I don't expect my friends to leave me over a disagreement on an issue or a topic. And so when that happens, when I see a huge revolving door of subscribers on my channel where I lost a shit ton of subscribers for some of my videos and then gained a whole bunch more, I'm like, what the fuck happened? The whole playing field is flipped upside the fuck down, and a lot of my friends are not happy with me having a lot of my friends. And that does cause stress. It makes me come to this process of making videos and go, here's another instance of people agreeing on things 99% of the time, but finding a different 1% of things to just draw a battle line with. And it's made me take a different direction with my channel on what kinds of videos do I want to make, because there are a few that I might have made but just would have caused me more heartache. So I looked at other interesting things that I was interested in. So yeah, politics. Money has been a problem in my life. Not just a vet bill. which caused stress. But just the fact that I stopped being an electrician a couple years ago, where at best I was making around $30 an hour, and I went into a field where I make less than half that. And I do have plenty of opportunities for overtime that sometimes I don't take, because I can sign up for extra shifts to cover other people's shifts and whatnot. And I have the opportunities there, but I also am very aware of self-care needs and how much my job can burn me out. So Tisnogods thought it was my pursuit of additional education. Actually, that's the least stressful part of my life. I just finished a bunch of classes, and I have all of my required classes in to get my next level of certification with my state, which I will put in my packet in June. I need to finish up some hours because these licenses are tied to the amount of hours that you've worked. And after that, I will be making a little bit more money. And at this level of pay that I'm at, I am very aware that every dollar that you get in a raise, every dollar that you go up, is a huge change in your life. Okay? It's different decisions that you're making. Every dollar is life changing. And I don't know how to explain it any other way. It's like you get that dollar raise over a 40-hour work week every month. That's before taxes, $160, right? After taxes, depending on what tax bracket you're in, I'm going to say it's at least $120, right? That $120 can fill a lot of gas tanks for the entire month. That's your gas for your vehicle to get to work and back, you know. $120 could be the difference between somebody having a cable modem to be able to make YouTube videos or not. You know, pick a bill, and that $120 is probably close to it, because everybody in life wants another $100 from you. It's a very common price for things. It could be the ability to buy a new set of clothes because you have been using the same set of clothes for a very long time, and you need more professional wear at work, which could actually result in a better position or another promotion, you know. So yeah, every dollar counts, and I stopped working some shifts that gave me some shift differentials because I needed to get a certain type of hours at work. Specifically, psychotherapy hours. You can't earn those on third shift because you're not actually doing any psychotherapy when clients are sleeping. So, in order to get more of those, in order to get that level of certification that I'm getting next, I had to leave the shifts that pay better. And because of that, I get less pay. I kind of offset that a couple times with free lunches, because if I'm working in certain places with certain clients, I get to eat alongside of them in cafeterias, and that's actually almost evened out as far as what I could be paying for a lunch somewhere if I were to take a lunch break, which I know it's horrible self-care, but normally I will clock out for the least amount of time for my lunch break, and I will play Boom Beach or Clash of Clans or some other mind puzzle game on my phone for 20 minutes, and then I will clock back in, because I would rather make sure that I only am gone for 20 minutes than actually do self-care, because I get paid shit. And just making sure that all of those extra minutes at the end of the month add up to a little bit more pay is actually something that helps me on other parts of my life. So my 8 hour shifts are pretty much a solid 8.5 hours, because it never fails. If I don't actually leave the building, somebody will have a problem that they need me to work on right in the middle of me being clocked out. And I really hate it when I get distracted to the point where I lose like 4 or 5 minutes, because I didn't remember to clock back in. And it's a game, people will try to distract me. Um, Something else that happened recently that has weighed on me is that I was attacked at my workplace, and I can't talk about the specifics of it. It has to do with confidentiality, but I will say that the conditions at my work haven't changed enough to reflect what I think would be addressing the issue to my liking, and I don't see them getting there. But I wasn't hurt, so there's that. But it's affected my my look of wear, and the laser beams that are shooting out of my eyes at people when I see something wrong. That has affected it. Yeah, but as far as the additional education that I've been pursuing, I'm actually right now hitting a lull in that because I can't do anything more as far as the education to get another license until I get my next license. It's really as simple as that. I have to take a test that everyone has to take. It's the national exam, and cramming for that won't be very hard. I'll get that over with pretty easily. And yeah, I don't know if that was actually adding to my stress, because I felt like that was actually my vacation from stress, taking those classes. So I guess I'm just going to end this video with talking about two videos I just saw by VarmitCoyote, somebody who, at this point, even though years ago we were on the same side of the political landscape, I find that we're now on opposite sides of that new battle line, because that's just where the line fell. And so I've had a couple videos where his response, his comment on my video was like, "Oh fuck you," and that was it. And I was like, "Whoa," you know. So that's one of those friends that, you know, I didn't have that problem with before, but because we're now focusing as a whole on YouTube on these other issues, I now find myself at odds with on a few issues. And so I saw these two videos from him. He's having a hard go of it, so I'm going to go ahead and donate to him based on my definition of friendship, and not just whether or not I agree with his politics. You know what I'm saying? Because I actually respect parts of his plight more than others, in that he has been working hard for just maintaining his life, and I recognize that he has been working at it. In my job, it's very easy for me to keep the boundary of not giving my own money to my clients. That's a professional boundary that you just don't do. You don't break that. And in life, I've actually been grading people as far as, first, this is just from my job. Is this person given to vices? Are they addicted to something that they need to give up, and is that the reason why they are in the financial situation that they're in? Because I'm not going to be enabling anyone. I deal with it too much on the job, and so I respect Varmint Coyote in that I'm pretty sure it's not his vices that got him in the sticky situation that he's in. Um, and I like that I can see a light at the end of the tunnel for the problem that he's got, because he's got a plan. You know, it's a rough go of it. I know how rough things can get when you are at a certain level of pay that isn't cutting it. You know, and every little raise you get it is important. But I just respect that he is working hard at this, and things can happen that are out of your control. You know, so yeah. There are some people in this world that have actually given to me in the past that politically now I don't know if they would, you know, because they are on that opposite end of the spectrum. I'll call one of them out right now. Um, Serious Mind. He's actually told a couple of my friends that I'm not a good person to hang around, and they didn't like that. But Serious Mind, I think he's subscribed to my channel 3 different times and left 3 different times because of differences. But way, way back in the day, I had a fundraiser that I set up for the Occupy movement, my local chapter of the Occupy movement, and he was one of the people that donated to it. Right? Back then, we were both politically the same. I'm the one who left that behind. I'm the one who changed in that respect. I'm the one who now does not like some of the politics that came about because of the Occupy movement. So I recognize that I'm the one that changed there. But now that this battle line has been drawn, you know, it's been to the point where he actually doesn't like people associating with me that are around him, you know. But back in the day, he had given to a charity that I had set up, and I don't think that he would, even if it was a good cause today, do the same thing. And it's because he has a different idea of friendship, you know. And I can't fault people for having different principles or values that they live by, but it in this instance of Varmint Coyote, I don't care if he makes a video tomorrow in his vlog every day in April calling me an asshole and saying that I have a really hard position here for him to swallow, and he needs to tell me that I am wrong about something. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people disagreeing with me, you know. Links in the description box to... I'm going to tweet out those gruesome pictures and link to be able to give to Varmint Coyote and help him with a hand up, because this is a hard worker who's just hit a rough patch, and we can keep him from even rougher patches and needing even more help by helping him right now. And I like those sort of situations where your help helps people out of needing other help. So, thanks for listening. Ask me any question you want in the description box, and maybe you'll get another Ramble video out of me.